last year we decided to do a educational outreach at the park with community members. And so what we did is we drafted a plan that every month I would come out, and mostly in the mornings, and gather with folks for an hour or two, and we'd walk through the park and assess what was going on, what had changed from month to month, what the plans were for that season, and just how it struck everyone. Our first meeting was in January, and we were very lucky to have a nice big snowstorm 2-3 days before, which was fantastic. On the other hand, I thought, well, maybe I'll get a handful of people or not. I think that was one of our largest groups of people who came out. There must have been 20-25 folks, and it was fabulous. So we walked through the snow, and we could look at the structure of the site differently than when the plants are in flower and leaf. So that was helpful, but we also could see some tracks, and that was very exciting. And I think a lot of folks, aren't thinking we can go out in the winter and see what's happening. So that was a lot of fun. We did that, walked through, and then ended up having a nice big fire down in the barbecue pit area, which was fabulous when that, the wind's coming off of Potomac River. But that was really terrific. And then every month was different. I would say some always had, I think, a core of 12 people or so. Sometimes it was 12 to 30 or more. I think Frank McLaughlin, when he did the bat evening, had quite a bit of folks, and especially a lot of kids coming out. So one of the challenges is communicating to the community what's happening, and these lectures were helpful for that, because someone would come in and videotape or photograph and take notes, and then put that in the community publications, which was helpful. But we'd get a lot of questions, a lot of different questions that were just very interesting, I think, for the group and for myself to think about. And when I'm answering that, I'm always sort of learning things too about the park. And one of the things also, every month things would change, but especially seasonally, to see that park in transition, to see a meadow where I think a lot of folks might think the what do I want to say, the penultimate area of the meadow is during summer when everything's out. But you know what, there's a lot of stuff going on in the winter. And so seeing the structure, seeing the birds on the on the leftover seed heads and things like that were really important to us. So showing folks that, educating them, and then having them bring other folks in. So that happened last year. This year, community members are stepping up more and more to lead those types of events. Now that I'm a bit in the West for a while, that's what's happening there. And then different activities in the park that are going to be scheduled. Some of those are plantings. Some of those are just gatherings through the park. Discovering technology in the park. And Frank McLaughlin did that with his echolocator for bats. And I'm going to send off some information about iNaturalist and Seek and different things to come in and talk about, how you can come in just with your phone and learn more and have another depth of experience at the park. There's been a lot of talk about labeling the plants. And I think that's a good idea, but because it changes so much and so many folks walk through that park and things move around, then I think using these technologies where you can just go up to a plant, if that's what you're interested in, and learn about it right then, right in real time, you can do that. So we're encouraging the community to come in and do that. And we have a whole slew, I think there's 3 new signs coming in, interpretive signs, to talk about other things that we don't always see, such as what's happening under, in the soil, and why that's important, and how it affects the park. So we'll talk about that, about the riparian area and the challenges of the erosion that's happening and why that's happening, but also the opportunities there. So those new interpretive signs will come in, but we have now live technology we can use at the moment to interpret what's happening at the park. So we're going to encourage folks to come out and do that more and more, and hopefully have community members lead that and show that, and how simple and direct that information is now accessible to all of us. So that's what we're hoping will happen next.
Well, that's perfect to introduce technology like that. iNaturalist is spectacular.
Oh yeah, and then have you used that Seek? Have you used the Seek part of it? I just downloaded it. Manuel showed it to me. It's unbelievable, because you know how in iNaturalist you take a photo and then it downloads and you have to upload it and then you get information back. Seek, when you do that, put the photo, your camera on, it immediately pops up what it could be, what the options are immediately. So that's really exciting to me, because I don't always have time to wait for, and especially if you're out in the park, right?
Yeah.
I might not have immediate, I have to wait until I get home and it downloads and all that stuff. This is immediate, so it's really exciting.
I think try that. Okay.
Yeah, you have to try it.
Another good technology is the eBird.
Yes, we need to talk about that. So,
yeah,
I need to write an article for them about that and the